Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping into the deep end and breaking down the huge shift in SAP development that's happening with S/4HANA. It really is a whole new world, and we're here to give you the map.
Okay, let's just get right to it. This quote, it hits the nail on the head. We are not just talking about some small update here. ABAP Core Data Services, what we call CDS, is a total change in philosophy. It's not just another tool in the toolbox. It's the new foundation for how we build high-performance applications in S/4HANA. So, to really get a handle on this new way of building things, we first have to ask why. Why did the old way, which worked for decades, have to change? Well, it's because the demands on our apps and the power of our databases have changed a lot.
And this slide right here perfectly sums up that change. The old way, on the left, was all about data to code. We'd pull massive amounts of data from the database up to the application server and do our processing there. The new way? We've completely flipped that script. It's now code to data. We push our application logic down to the data, letting the super powerful in-memory database do all the heavy lifting.
And this idea is called Code Pushdown. Honestly, this is the engine that's driving this entire transformation. When we move all those data-heavy calculations into the database itself, we get to take full advantage of SAP HANA's power. It means way less data flying back and forth between layers, and the result? Exactly what we need. Simpler logic and just lightning-fast performance.
Okay, so if we're all in on this new code-to-data world, what does our toolkit actually look like? What are the absolute must-haves that you need to know to be effective?
These are basically the four pillars of modern S/4HANA development. First, you've got the ABAP Cloud development model, which kind of sets the new rules of the game. Then there's Core Data Services, or CDS. That's how you model your data. To actually build services and define behavior, you're going to use the ABAP RESTful Application Programming Model, or RAP. And your command center, where you do all of this, that's the ABAP Development Tools, or ADT, right inside Eclipse.
Let's zoom in on CDS for a second, because it's truly the backbone of this new world. This is a massive leap from how we used to do things. It's not just about creating a simple view on a table anymore. We're talking about building semantically rich data models, defining relationships, calculations, annotations, right where the data actually lives. This makes your data models incredibly powerful, and the best part, reusable.
Now, what's really cool is how SAP suggests we structure these CDS views. It's a layered approach called the Virtual Data Model, or VDM. The best way to think about it is like building with Legos. You start with basic foundation views on your raw tables. Then you combine those into richer composite views. Finally, you create application-specific consumption views. This whole layering thing makes your models so much more manageable, reusable, and easier to maintain. And to keep all those Lego bricks organized, a consistent naming convention is, well, it's non-negotiable. SAP gives us these really clear conventions. Using I for an interface view or C for a consumption view, it immediately tells any developer what they're looking at. It brings a sense of order to what could be total chaos.
Okay, so if CDS is the backbone that shapes the data, RAP is the nervous system that brings that data to life. RAP is the entire framework for building your actual services. It handles all the transactional stuff like create, update, delete, and exposes them as these really robust OData APIs for Fury apps or, any other web client you can think of.
And when you build a REAP application, you follow this very clear, structured path. You start with your tables, define the data model with CDS, specify the transactional behavior, and then you define and bind the service. The beauty of this is that it's a super logical and consistent process for building enterprise-grade APIs from start to finish.
So we've got the concepts, we've got the tools. Now, let's get practical. What are the golden rules you need to follow to make sure the apps you're building today are strong, fast, and ready for whatever comes next?
This slide lays it out perfectly. Some old habits just have to die. Direct selects on database tables? Nope. We're using CDS views for that now. Those classic BAPIs we all used, they're being replaced by stable RAP facades. And old modification techniques like user exits, gone. We now use clean, cloud-friendly extensibility points. And here's the best part. You don't have to go it alone. Your IDE, the ABAP Development Tools in Eclipse, is built to help you. You just flip a switch telling your object you're using ABAP for cloud development, and bam, it activates a much stricter syntax check that literally stops you from using these old patterns. It's like having a guardrail for modern development.
The really crucial point here is that you can, and you absolutely should, automate this stuff. The ABAP Test Cockpit, or ATC, can be set up with a special cloud readiness check. By making this part of your quality gates, part of your transport process, you make sure that only clean, future-proof code ever makes it into your production system.
When we talk about performance, it's all about being precise. The days of select all are just over. You have to be explicit. List out every single field your application needs and nothing more. And filter your data as early as you possibly can. Moving data you don't need is the #1 performance killer. It's really that simple.
Now this is interesting. A tiny little detail that has a huge impact, cardinality. By telling the database exactly how your tables are related, like for every one sales order there might be many items, you're giving the HANA Optimizer these critical clues it needs to build the smartest, most efficient execution plan possible. And this leads us to probably the most important discipline in modern development, the clean core approach. SAP is now promising that certain objects are officially released for you to use, and they guarantee they'll stay stable. So, by building your custom code only on top of these stable, released APIs, you make sure your stuff won't break during the next S/4HANA upgrade. You're building on a solid, future-proof foundation.
Okay, we've talked tech, we've talked architecture, we've talked rules. So what does all this mean for you, the developer? How does this actually change your mindset and your day-to-day work?
All right, let's boil it all down. 1. Think in APIs. Stop hitting tables directly, use stable CDS views. 2. Push your logic down. Get those complicated ABAP loops out of there and do your calculations in CDS. 3. Embrace ADT and Eclipse. It's your new home. 4. Test everything and then automate those tests with ATC to keep your code clean. And finally, 5. Always design for extensibility. Build things so they can be extended without being broken. Look, mastering these isn't just about learning new syntax, it's what separates the good developers from the great, future-proof ones. At the end of the day, this whole paradigm shift is all about empowerment. It's giving you the tools to build applications that aren't just faster, but are also way more scalable, easier to maintain, and ready for whatever the cloud throws at them next. So the real question you got to ask yourself is, are you building for the future, or are you stuck in the past?